Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to go over my project, the start of the Hall of Fame for the Discord. So you may have heard, and I mentioned on the streams when I was doing them this past off season, and actually have peppered it in over the last several months, that I was doing a research project. And it allowed me to have a baseline where I went all the way back to the beginning of LOL Esports and tracked some stats, figured out some um, I don't want to say an algorithm, but like a way to determine how much everything was worth. I will not be releasing that because I'm not dealing with that nonsense and argument and bull. I'm not dealing with that. So what it is I've put a point total on each player that have ever played in LOL Esports. And I have taken the top 60 and I put them up for vote in the Discord where people were allowed to choose the top 15 of that 60 and then the top 6 of that 15. The rules were that the player could not have been playing in organized league in a world's qualifying region, even in ERLs or whatever, which I don't count for this. I don't count academy. I don't count ERLs. I don't count exhibitions. That sort of stuff I don't care about in terms of the points. But in terms of if you've played for a team that's competing in a region or an ERL or something, then you are not retired as far as I'm concerned. So you have to be retired for 2 years or not on a team for 2 years. After that, the 6 players are pulled out. They are in the Hall of Fame. The first 2 classes are done. So 12 players have been chosen. MaRin, the person on this video, was an individual that made it in the first class. For one of the first 6 players to be put into the Hall. If you disagree, join the Discord, vote. If you don't want to vote, then I don't care what you say in the comments, because if you're not going to participate, then the opinion is falling on deaf ears, because it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's like when people vote in, well, not, sorry, the people that complain about like politics in the US but then don't choose to vote, like, vote. If you want your voice heard, vote. And on a much lesser scale and not nearly as important, the Discord, there's only like, under 400 members on the Discord, and not many participate in this. So your vote will matter. We have the third class of 60 up. But like I said, a lot of players on there, a lot of players that aren't on there are still playing or have recently retired that will not be eligible until 2 years after they're done to confirm that they're retired. We're seeing players return after a couple-year hiatus, Doublelift, and others, Ming, Baolan, Ning, few others. So we got to kind of ensure that they're retired for the most part in terms of organized league before I put them on here. So that's the deal. MaRin got the most votes in the first round. I think he had like 9 votes, which I thought was interesting because there are better players, in my opinion, that also got voted in, but he had 9 votes. So he played from, we're going to go over his stats. These stats are farmed from Leaguepedia as well as gameoflegend.gg. They may not vibe exactly depending on where I got them from. Champion stats are from Leaguepedia. So keep in mind, I'm not going to claim that they're all perfect, but that's where I farmed them from. So MaRin played from 2014 to 2018. Started his career at 23 years old and would retire in his age 27 season. He put up 134.96 Hall of Fame points. The Hall of Fame points also are influenced if you are a traditional sports fan in North America. If you use Pro Football Reference, Baseball Reference, Hockey Reference, those websites, the Sports Reference umbrella, they have a Hall of Fame monitor and things like that. I'm inspired by that doing this. So 134.96 for MaRin. His top 3 most played champs that accounted for 47% of his games played on Leaguepedia were Gnar, Rumble, and Maokai. So a lot of people say it's his Rumble, but his Gnar was played more often than the Rumble, and then his third most played was Maokai. So let's look into that a little bit closer. I understand you can't read this, so I'm going over it. His top 3 win rate champions were first Maokai at 82% win rate. His Gragas was second with 77%. And then third was Nautilus with 64%. So those were his 3 most successful champions in the win-loss category. As far as all time is concerned, for players that played like, I don't know, double-digit amount of games or so on a champion, his Maokai win rate is the best ever, active and retired in Maokai top. His Gragas is 4th, and his Nautilus top is 9th. So it's pretty incredible that his Maokai top is, win-loss wise, the best ever. A lot of people give the Rumble credit, like I said, but it was the Maokai that also showed results. In terms of KDA, Maokai is first at 4.96. That ranks 10th for top laners. His Nautilus, 4.56, was second, and that was 4th. And then third was Trundle top, which ranked 6th. He had a 4.53 KDA on that. So more tank-oriented. Obviously, this was many years ago. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot of things about many years ago. There's a reason why this is all stats-based, because I didn't watch a lot of the content then. And it's why I also, allow the Discord to really choose. I mean, I get a vote, but I'm only one of the people that vote. So, and I do my research, obviously. So if people, disagree, vote. So in 2014, he would start with SKT. Obviously, like I said, I'm not counting exhibitions. I'm not counting academy. I'm not counting any of the stuff before that. Trying to go with the really organized stuff here. So he started with SK in 2014. They obviously had a 3-split process with champions, winter, spring, summer. Would play 7 games in winter, have a 2 KDA, 649 CS per minute. In spring, it would be a little better. Also 7 games played, same KDA, but 716 CS per minute. And then in 2014 summer, you see an uptick by SKT and MaRin in particular. Being able to play 19 games, had a 2.5 KDA, 7.64 CS per minute. That accounted for only 2.18 Hall of Fame points, compared to 134.96 of his career. So very small. In 2015 is the year. That is the year that gets him on the list. Obviously, a lot of people know Wins Worlds is a big contributor to that. And that's what, he's known for, right? At 24 years old, with SKT in 2015 spring, he would win. In terms of the preseason, had a 9-game stint. Had the best KDA at 7.44, third best CS per minute at 7.86, second best KP at 69.6. So one of the best top laners at the time in 2015. He would then roll that over into the spring split in 32 games, would have the third best KDA at 4.1, the best CS per minute at 8.4, and then a 56.8 KP and 22.2 gold share. And you'll notice when I go over this, his gold share is high. It's usually around 22 or higher. There are a couple times where it's lower, but for the most part, it's secondary carry-like almost. And he doesn't die a lot. He was able to keep up in lane. He did a very good job in his role. In the playoffs for 2015 spring, where he would be able to lock an MSI slot, in 8 games had a 5.18 KDA, 7.84 CS per minute, 65.7 KP. Did have a little drop off in gold at 21.3, taking on more of a weak side role, and not farming as much, 0.6 less, represented in that gold drop off. At MSI 2015, his first international appearance. That's another thing. Not many international appearances for MaRin. That's why his point total is so low as well. I treat all domestic results the same. The difference for a player versus another player oftentimes comes from international performance, where I think it's the highest level of play. I don't care what, if you win Latin America and you win LCK, I gave the same amount of points because I'm not discriminating based on region. But when they go international, and Latin America, for instance, gets dropped out in the play-ins, they get I'm saying less than 10% of the points that the team that wins, actually, honestly, it's way less than 10%. The amount of points that the winner gets in Worlds or MSI, and even I pick who the all-stars are and things like that based off stats. So there is domestic results all the same. International results is where the differences occur. So MSI, 15 games played, 2.7 KDA, so he did struggle. Relative to the LCK, I mean, he dropped off significantly in KDA. CS per minute, 7.1 was still first, so the meta shifted to very tank-oriented. 64.3 KP, 510 damage per minute, resulting in a 24.1 damage share, and that would be the start of him putting up 500 damage per minute for all of 2015 in the second half. 21-1 gold share, had 10 solo kills at MSI. That was first for top laners. 2015 summer, he would win the LCK. 41 games played, 4.9 KDA, was second in the region in top lane. 8.4 CS per minute again was first. 61.4 KP, 512 damage per minute, 22.5 gold share was first as well. So once again, pacing the top lane in the LCK in 2015. He would only have to play one series, which was a 3-0 in the playoffs, a 7.6 KDA, 8.7 CS per minute, 65.2 KP, 512 damage per minute, 24.8 damage share, 21.7 gold share, 3 solo kills in those 3 games. So dominant in the playoffs in that one series to secure the world slot, which they would win. So this is where a lot of the points come from. It's 2015. 16 games played. He had the best KDA at Worlds for top laners at 4.4, the best CS per minute at 8.8. So really turned it around from MSI, where he also was first in CS per minute. But, I mean, just setting the tone in the top lane, right? 56.2 KP, 500 DPM was second for top laners at the event. 24.4 damage share was third. 22.8 gold share was first. And 11 solo kills in 16 games was also first. So, top 3 in damage, most gold, most solo kills, most farm, best KDA, was the guy for 2015 top lane. A lot of people give him the credit for why they won in the faker memes and things like that, copy pastas, and I could see why based off of these stats. He was absolutely excellent in 2015. Now, in 2016, he would leave SKT and leave Korea. He went to the LPL, and this was not the only time he would do that in his career. He joined LGD. Nowadays, LGD, not quite as good as they used to be, but he definitely had a drop-off. In spring, he played 35 games, hit a 2.7 KDA, was third in CS per minute in the LPL at 8.2, 61.1 KP. We have to keep in mind LPL stats are a bit harder to farm. Playoffs, he only played 3 games and was out. 2 KDA, 7.98 CS per minute, 77.4 KP, 20.8 gold share. In summer, 37 games played, once again struggling, this time probably putting up the worst split he did actually in his whole career in 2016 summer. 2.54 KDA, 7.53 CS per minute, 59.9 KP, 21.2 gold share was third, so trying to carry LGD the best he can. relative to top laners in the region, but it's still, like I said, probably the worst season he had in his career was that one. Really, really struggled. Got 5.61 points for it, but still, it caused him in 2017 to return to the LCK and play for the Afreeca Freaks, and went back to being the MaRin that we saw with SKT at the end of 2015. A very good season in 2017 stats-wise. In 46 games, had a 3-1 KDA, 9 CS per minute, which was second in top lane, 64.6 KP, so first. So more involved than any other top laner in kills, and then second in farm, which is exceptional. Sorry for hitting the mic. 422 damage per minute, so drop off in damage, 23.2 damage share. 21.7 gold share, was first amongst top laners, and had 13 solo kills in 46 games. That was third amongst top laners in the LCK. But when it came to playoff time, he didn't show up. In 2 games, only had a 0.9 KDA, 9.7 CS per minute, so he got fed, but died a lot. 48.6 KP, so went from being very involved to less than half of kills. 366 damage per minute. 366 damage per minute. 22.7 damage share. 22.2 gold share. He would return in summer and once again put up good numbers in terms of getting fed. He is dying a lot more than he did the last time he was in the LCK. But in terms of the CS per minute and keeping up in lane, he's doing his job. 48 games, 2.8 KDA, 9 CS per minute, which was second again. 58.7 KP, 410 damage per minute, 21.5 damage share, 21.4 gold share was third, 8 solo kills in 48 games. So he was not a guy that really had a lot of solo kills. Looking at his career, internationally, he ranked highly, but in terms of solo kills per game, it was not crazy. Like spring, though, in 2017, summer was a dud for the playoffs. 0.4 KDA, 8.3 CS per minute, 37.5 KP in 2 games. 510 damage per minute, 36.6 damage share, 20.4 gold share. So dealt more than 1/3 of the team's damage. Like, that's 80 carry damage numbers. So, dealt a ton of damage, but died a lot. Kind of just dove in there, dealt all his damage, and died, is essentially what I'm looking at here. In the regional playoffs, regional finals, he did play well, although he was unable to go to an international event. In 10 games, had a 3.7 KDA, 8.8 CS per minute, 47.3 KP. So you look at the early parts of 2017 spring, and he is active. He's involved. They're fighting around MaRin. He's also getting fed. And then at the end, when the split is coming to the season's coming to an end and internationals are on the line, he isn't putting up great numbers in terms of being involved, but is fed in gold. 392 damage per minute, which makes sense given the low KP. 20.3 damage share, 20.1 gold share. So not a lot of gold, not fighting all that much, kind of just playing it out and trying to get to an international event once again, because it is unfortunate that putting up one of the best Worlds runs ever in a row, he only went that one time. He would end his career in 2018 playing for top Esports in the LPL once more, at 27 years old, which, you'd think early on in league lore, players were younger, but also, like, if you're in your early to mid-20s, league was just starting. If you had the ability to play, you got on a team. In spring, he would split time, had 25 games played, 2.1 KDA, 8.9 CS per minute, 60.3 KP, 408 damage per minute, 23.3 damage share, which was the highest since 2015, 22.2 gold share, also the highest since 2015. So he put up a good split with top. Excuse me. But he was splitting time, and then in summer he barely played at all, only playing 5 games, had a 2.5 KDA, 9.8 CS per minute, 48.3 KP, 332 damage per minute, which was the lowest he put up, 25.2 damage share, which was the highest. So low damage, but high share, which means he was trying to do everything he could in those games, diving in once again, trying to get kills and deal his damage, but it didn't matter. 22.9 gold share, and that would be it, where he'd put up only, under 2 points towards the Hall of Fame. Really, all that MaRin's career is summed up in 2015, really. 2014, a rookie for the most part, early on in league history. SKT dealing with dual teams, that's like SKTS, I believe, is who he was with in that year. And then he joins SKT straight up in 2015. But then the last 3 years, like the LGD year was not good. Relative to the other years, I would say that was his worst. Joins Afreeca Freaks, returns to form, but they can't get over the hump and get to an international event. Obviously, Afreeca, that has kind of been, even now as KDF, that is the deal, right? They struggle getting over the hump. And then, despite doing it a couple times, for the most part, you'd expected more. MaRin leaves, Keen joins, and that's a whole nother deal. And then Top Esports is last year as he's in the limelight of his career, getting the bag in China and retiring. Of course, he did end up coaching TL this past split, returning to the league scene. The way I view it, if you're a player, you end up eligible if you haven't played for 2 years. If you go into coaching, that's fine. That's a separate category. I do not consider a coaching career as part of this. They are separate. There are some players that are going to have the ability, because they are such good coaches after their retirement, to possibly be on the nomination list twice, as a player and as a coach. And you see it in pro sports that's happened before, and that's kind of the way I want to do this. So I'm sure a lot of people didn't expect MaRin to be the first one to go over, but he was the one with the most votes in the first round. So hopefully this was interesting to you. If you liked this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter. If you watched MaRin play, comment down below with your opinions on him. Try and not be negative. I understand MaRin, at least to me, is not the best top laner ever. Frankly, there, I think, was a better top laner that got picked in the first class as well, but didn't have as many votes, so that's why I didn't put them first. Make the video first, but that's the deal. So, like I said, follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord if you want to participate in this. Like I said, the third class voting has begun. The 60 players are listed. Yeah, become a YouTube member if you'd like to do that. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.